Anyone? When I say the term statistics, what do I mean? You have heard this, right? The job statistics in the world, the GDP statistics of India, right? The population statistics, everything. So what does statistics deal with? Statistics basically
A
deals with
collection
data.
of data.
It's basically collection of data or data itself, right? Now, this data can be in any form. So whenever we are collecting data, whenever we're doing anything with data, it's called statistics, right? Any operation on data itself. This data can be of two types. We can have primary data and we can have secondary data. What is primary data and secondary data? So these are the two types of broad categories of data. Primary data is the data that you collect firsthand. You know what is first-hand information? Which you do yourself. For example, I tell you to go to your students in your class and compile a list of all the birthdays. You're doing it on your own, right? So that will be primary data. But if I now tell you to get all the birthdays of all the different classes and sections in your school, so what will you do? You will go on your own, or you will tell one of your friends in another class that you also collect all the data in your class and give it to me. Isn't it? One of the possibilities is that you only collect the data in your class and you tell like if your section is section A, so section A data you collect directly, whereas B, C, D section you tell your friends, you tell a friend in B that gather all the birthdays data and give it to me. So that kind of data, which is from a second source or third source, is called secondary data. You don't do it directly. You obtain it from some other source, some external source. Okay, so this is externally found. Which will be more accurate, primary data or secondary data?
Sure, primary.
Primary. Why? Because you have collected it yourself. So whenever you're taking secondary data, it's very important to find out the authenticity of the source of information, how reliably they calculated or collected that data. Okay. That doesn't mean that secondary data is unreliable. You just have to make sure that the person who collected it or the source of the data has to be reliable. Right? Quickly copy this down. Done? Okay, can I move ahead? I hope everyone's done now. Now, whenever we have this kind of data which we've already collected, we need to present the data. Right? For example, let's say that in your class, we have 10 students. Like we have 10 students in this class and I give them marks in an exam that we conducted. Let's say supposing the marks were something out of 100, let's say out of 50, no, out of 100, the marks are something like this, 25, 35, 85, 86, 97, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 98, 72, 62, 82, and again 82. Okay. These are the marks obtained by 10 students in the class in an exam. So you see that this is just data in any order. This is student 1, student 2, student 3, student 4, student 5, any order, right? This kind of data is also called raw data because it is obtained randomly. Okay. So data in its rawest form is called raw data. Now, what do we do if I ask you the minimum and the maximum score in this? What will be the maximum and minimum marks obtained and the maximum marks obtained?
Sir, minimum 25.
Sir,
Yeah.
maximum 98.
Okay. So what did you do? You went through all the data on your own and then you figured it out, right? You saw which is the least value, which is the maximum value. So whenever we have raw data, what we do is we arrange in ascending or descending order. Usually we arrange it in ascending order. So what will be the ascending order arrangement of this? Can somebody tell me? Ascending is low to high. Siddharth?
Yes, sir. Sir, 25.
Yeah.
25 is smaller to 35, which is smaller to
Just say 25 comma 35 comma. Don't say smaller.
Okay, sir. Sir, 62, 72,
Yeah.
82, 82,
Yeah.
85, 86, 97, and 98.
Right? So this kind of data which we arrange in a sequence is usually raw data, is usually whenever we are doing statistics, we arrange data in ascending or descending order. This is very, very important. Okay. So always, whenever you're given data and you have to perform any statistic in it, on it, always arrange it either in ascending or descending. This is the first rule of statistics. Don't just work on raw data, it will be very difficult. Okay. So now you know that this is the minimum value, right? And this one is the maximum value. So whenever we arrange in ascending or descending, just looking at the lowest and the highest, we can easily find the minimum and the maximum. Okay. There is a specific term which we have, which is called the range of the data. What is range? Range is nothing but the maximum value minus the minimum value. So in this case, what will be the range? What's the maximum value? 98 minus 25, which is Achira, which is you're not audible. Achira, you're not audible. Sanika?
Sir, 85.
Yeah?
Sir, 85.
98 minus 25.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes, Achira, you're audible now.
Sir, it would be 73.
Sanika, how 85?
Sir, I calculated wrong.
We need to go back to first standard integer calculations. Please don't make these mistakes. You're in 9th now. I expect you all not to make calculation errors at least now. Okay. Fine. So the range of this data set, this is also called a data set. Okay. So we also refer to the data as a data set because it gives data about a particular value. In this case, marks obtained by students, 10 students. This is called the range of the data. So we have a formula for range, which is the maximum value minus the minimum value. And we have to always arrange the raw data into ascending or descending order whenever we are dealing with statistics. Please copy this down. You don't need to copy. If you want, you can copy the example. Otherwise, just copy the main terms. If you want for reference to copy the example, you can do that also. It's up to you. So the difference between the highest value in that data set and the lowest value in the same data set is called the range. The range cannot be across two different data sets. Remember that. It will always be the same data set.
Sir, the data set is that you have written where 25, 35, 85, right?
Arpita, your voice is not clear. Could you just speak a little bit louder?
Yes, sir. Sir, that data set,
Yeah.
so that is the 25, 35, right? That the presentation of data.
Any data which is collected is also called a data set, where it refers to only one kind of information. Like in this case, all the marks is given. So that's called a data set.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
This entire values of one category is called a data set. Now we have taken marks. If I take the height of students in your class, that will be another data set.
Okay, sir.
Sharon, any doubt?
No, sir.
This is a very easy chapter. Just need to be careful about calculations and looking at each number. Now, whenever you arrange it in this, one easy way to do to make sure you have not missed out any number, like we take 25, so just quickly cut it with a pencil. Like we take 35, cut it with a pencil. Then after this, we wrote 62, cut this with a pencil. So you will see that no value is missing because these are only 10 numbers. Now, what if you had 100 numbers? Okay, so it may happen that you might miss out on a number. So whenever we do this kind of thing, just cut them out with briefly so that you know that you've covered each and every one. Done, everyone? Raise your hand if you're still copying. Okay, let's continue. Now, we have something which is now, we have a few terms related in statistics. Okay, so we have a term which is related called frequency. What is frequency? This is the number of times a value occurs in a data set, right? For example, now on a scale of 0 to 10, I'll ask you to rate the way I teach you all. Okay. So again, we have 10 students here. Let's take a small data set. So 10 students. Now, supposing the 10 students rate me like this. Some says 10, another says 5, 5, 6, 7, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 again, 7, 9, and 8. No, let's say 9 and let's say 6. Okay, this is the way you all rate me. Now we have how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and let's say another 10. Right? 2 of you think I'm perfectly teaching you, and some of you think that I'm not teaching you properly, and average, and most of you think I'm average. So how do we know that how many people have said that I'm a good teacher? Okay, so what we do is, instead of looking at each data, this is only 10, remember, but now supposing I give you 100, it'll become very difficult to find out, right? So what we do is we find out the frequency of each value. Okay, and with the frequency, we make something known as a frequency distribution table. Okay, so what do we do first? Again, what is the first step in whenever we work with statistics? Varya, what is the first step?
Sir, arrange in ascending order.
Quickly do that.
Sir, 1, then 5, 5, 5, then 6, 7, then
No, this is
6, 6.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. 7, 9, and then double 10.
right? So these are all the values that we have. Okay, it's not absolutely necessary to do this, but it's always preferable. What we do is, let's say this is the rating. Okay, and we say number of students. We make two columns. This is number of students is also called the frequency. Okay. So in rating, what we do is all the rating, individual unique rating that has been given. So what is the unique rating? 1. So it's from 0 to 10. So what we usually do is we take 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay. Because the rating was from 0 to 10, so all the individual values have to be taken into play. If this is not given to you, that it was from 0 to 10 and only these values are given, then you could have also done this one here. You could have done 1, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 10. Okay, is this clear? If it has been told that the rating was from 0 to 10, then you will write all 0 to 10. But if it was just told that this was the rating given, with no information about the starting and the ending, then just use these values as the rating table or the rating column. Clear? So let's do with 0 to 10 for now. So 0, how many students are occurring?
None.
None, so we say 0 over here. What about 1? So we have only one
So
student.
1.
Okay, you remember, do you know how to do this kind of a mapping? You must have been learned this earlier. What is this called?
So telemarks.
Right. Right. So what we can do is, if the data set is large, we can have these kind of telemarking also there. So we can have 1, so we can do 2 is again 0, nothing. 3 is 0. 4 is 0. 5, if we do telemarking, is this one here. So it will be 3. 6 will be 2. 7 will be 1. 8 will be 0. 9 will be 1 and 10 will be 2. Okay. So this kind of table is something which is called the frequency distribution table. One thing to remember, that the total of frequency, one sec. So this total of the frequency column will always be the number of students which were moved. So in this case, there are 10 students. You see 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If this does not add up to 10, which were the number of students or number of respondents who took part in the survey, then your calculation somewhere is off. Okay, so this is total of frequency will always be equal to the number of students who took part in the survey or whatever information. Is this clear? If this is not equal, that means somewhere your calculation is wrong. Now this table is also called as an ungrouped frequency distribution table, or simply a frequency distribution table. Why is it ungrouped? We will understand later. Right, and these are the tally marks. If you require, you can put these tally marks or not. It's up to you. Okay. If you want, you all can copy this down now. What is frequency? And an example. If anyone has any doubts, please unmute yourself and ask me anytime. Are you all done? Okay. So now I told you that this kind of data is called an ungrouped data. Why is it ungrouped? Because each value is taken individually. I have not grouped it into different groups like stuff. Like I can say all students who gave me a rating of 0 to 2 is in one group. Those who gave me a rating of 3 to 5 is in one group. Those who gave me a rating of 5 to 7 is in one group. So we did not do this, right? That is why it was called an ungrouped frequency distribution. Clear about this? Now let's take another kind of data set. We are given the following data. Okay. The following is the data of 100 plants which have been planted in 100 schools. Okay. And this is the percentage of plants which survived after 1 month. A lot of data. So if I start taking the least value, first is I arrange this in ascending order. So I'll start with the least value. What does the least value looks like here? Maybe looks like 36, no, 23. Right up till the value of 98, I guess. Yeah. There are many values, so it'll become a very big table. So will this be convenient to judge or to calculate? No, it will not be, right? Because there are 100 different plants in 100 schools. So there are 100 values here. So instead of making an ungrouped distribution table, what we do now is we convert this into a grouped frequency distribution table. I'm writing this short distribution table, right? What this group does is it converts all the data into convenient groups. So usually what we do is we find the lowest value, we find the highest value, and we see how many data sets are there. So in this case, there is around 75 values which have to come, range, right? And there are around 100 data sets. So this will range from around 20 to, let's say, 100, right? The lowest class. So what I can do is each of the sets, I can make it the width of 10 in groups of 10. Okay, this is something that you can do on your own. There's no hard and fast rule on this. So what we can do is all values which come from 20 to 29, I will put in one group. Similarly, now 30 to 39 in one group, 40 to 49 in one group, 50 to 59 in one group, 60 to 69, 70 to 79, 80 to 89, and 90 to 99. So you see, these are the number of groups which are created, right? So we can say that this is the number of plants survived. So this means that if we have between 20 to 29 plants surviving, it will come in this group. Then next May, what will we have? We'll have these tally marks. Same thing what we did earlier. And the last we have number of schools and or frequency. Right? Is this clear, everyone? This kind of data set, this kind of table is called a grouped frequency distribution table. Now I want you all to do this on your own. I'll give you all 5 minutes. I want you to make the tally marks on the frequency distribution table. This is the data set which is there. Quickly do this on your own now. Again, I will say start with 95. So as soon as you finish 95, just cut it out. You don't have the data set, so just leave it there. Yeah, somebody was saying something.
Sir, I just wanted to ask whether we have to write the data set or not.
Do you have to?
Sorry, already did.
Siddharth, your voice is not clear. Siddharth, what are you saying? Your voice was not clear. Could you repeat?
Sir, I was just asking before you told us to write the not write the data set, whether we had to write or not.
No, you don't need to write it down. Don't waste time. Just make the group frequency distribution. If you want to refer it, I'll give it to you later. Just start making the group frequency distribution table. All of you will please solve this. I'll just have a glass of water and I'll be back.
Sir, can you repeat?
Two more minutes, everyone quickly solve it. Okay, Arpita. Anybody still solving? Raise your hand. Those of you who have finished, please check the total of your frequency table. It should add up to 100. Always verify whether you have missed any value or not. The total of the frequency table column should add up to 100 because there were 100 plants here, 100 schools here. Arpita, Sanika, Naisha, Varya, check to see if the cumulative of the total of the frequency column is 100 or not. That's a very common mistake we do. We miss out a value and something goes wrong. Everything, in fact, goes wrong. Ananya, hurry up. Don't arrange this data in ascending order or anything. Just start directly. Okay. Don't try to do too much. You will not complete your work. This one you can do directly. Even if they give you in exams, don't need to arrange it in ascending or descending. All of you check your answers. Tally marks I'm not making for you, but you know how to make tally marks, right? So this is 3, then this would be 5 and 5 again, and 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 3, 14, 12, 8, 18, 10, 23, and 12 for a total of 100. Please check your values. Anybody got it wrong? Let me know.
Sir, when we get this kind of question, is it compulsory to make the tally marks?
Yes, it is compulsory. And it's always better also, because what will happen? Now, supposing we are taking 30. Okay, let's say we go over 30 here. How will you remember that you already counted once? Or will you first look for everything within 30 to 39 range? How will you remember? You understood? Either then
Yes.
you go, either you scan the list 10 into 10 times. For each value of 20 to 29, you first see all the 20 to 29 and then mark. Then again you see 30 to 39, see all the values again and then mark. That will be tedious, right? In this case, we can do it quickly. 95, I quickly mark 1. 67, I quickly mark 1. 28, I quickly mark 1. So it makes it very easy. Okay? Fine.
Yes, sir.
Everyone clear on this? Any doubts so far? So when we have this grouped kind of data, we saw two things. We saw that the classes were like something 20 to 29, and it was 30 to 39, 40 to 49, and so forth, right? This value is also called as the lower class limit. This value is called as the upper class limit. Okay. Each of these rows is called a class, right? So we have a class 20 to 29, we have a class 30 to 39, we have a class 40 to 49, and so forth, right? What were the other values which were there? Let's quickly do that. So we have 50 to 59, 60 to 69, 70 to 79, 80 to 89, and 90 to 99. Correct? Sharon, what's the lower class limit of the 50 to 59 class?
Yes, sir.
What is the lower class limit of the 50 to 59 class?
So from the question,
What is the lower class limit of the 50 to 59 class?
so 50.
50. Achira, what is the upper class limit of the 70 to 79 class?
So 79.
79. Dhruti, how many classes are there? Dhruti, how many classes? Dhruti, are you there? I can't hear you. No, I can't hear you. Type it out, type your answer out. How many classes? No. I still can't hear you. How many classes are there? Dhruti, type out your answer. How many classes? Yatharth, how many classes?
2.
Oh, there are not 2 classes. How many classes are there? Arpita?
So 8.
8. Yatharth, each of this is a class. 1, 2, all of these are classes. Each grouping is a class. Yathar, is that clear?
Yes, sir.
So we have how many classes now? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 classes. Please remember, each of this grouping is called a class. Right? Is this clear, everyone? Right? These classes are also called class intervals. Okay? Or class intervals. They're one and the same thing. So we have a class interval of 20 to 29. We have a class interval of 30 to 39. Okay? Clear so far?
Yes, sir.
We have something now known as the class size, also called the class width. Okay? Class size and class width is nothing but the number of interval between the values. Now, how many values are going to come in this? We have 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. So the class size would be 10. The difference including and excluding this both the items. So starting at 20 to 29, what is the class width? For each class interval, the class width may be same or it may be different. We will see different class widths later on. But in this case, the class width is the same. It's 10, right? 40 to 49. So for, including 40, 41, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 10. So all these classes, class intervals have the uniform class size or class width of 10. Clear so far? Please copy this down. And like I said, this is a grouped frequency distribution table. Frequency distribution table. So different terms associated, grouped and ungrouped frequency distribution table, class intervals or classes, upper limit, lower limit, okay, and class width or class size. Do they copy these terms down? They're very important when it comes to statistics. We will not be able to proceed if you don't know these terms because this is going to be used everywhere. Lower class limit, upper class limit, class intervals, class widths. You should be very familiar with these terms to learn this chapter.
So what's that group FDT?
Grouped frequency distribution table. I just put short forms instead of writing it, but you need to write down the entire thing, okay? I finished my exams long back, so I have become lazy now. Are you all done? Anybody still copying? So we will be ending here today. Tomorrow we'll be continuing further with this chapter. Any doubts in whatever we've covered?
Sir, I just wanted to ask one thing. Sir, to calculate class size, we will have to count each class interval, right?
You will have to.
Sir, to calculate class size, we will have to count each class intervals, right?
Right. Each class interval can have a different class size or a class width. It is not necessary that all the 8 classes in this example have the same class width. The class width can vary. Usually they don't, but they can vary. Okay, we will be coming into that in the later classes towards the end of the chapter. Okay, any doubts, anyone? Any other doubts? Please learn these terms. You all should be familiar with this, because later on we will be just using these terms and you should be able to understand what I'm referring to. So that's it for today. I'll see you all again tomorrow then. Bye everyone.
So, Portal.
Yeah, Arpita. Just a minute.
So,
You can
yes,
wait.
sir.